Hey there, thanks for joining us today. If you're dialed in right now, it means you are watching the Trello Enterprise on-demand demo webinar. In the next 20 minutes or so, we'll be walking you through everything that you need to know about Trello Enterprise at a high level, as well as how it's different from some of our other Trello offerings as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. A little bit about me. My name is Justin and I work here at Trello. I'm really excited to be your tour guide for the next few minutes. And before we get into the demo itself, I did just want to quickly start with a quick thank you for being here with us today. Over the past 10 years now that Trello has been in business, we have amassed quite the amount of customers and users. And we just wanted to say thank you, whether or not you are a multi-year Trello enthusiast or just exploring Trello for the first time. We really appreciate you being here with us today. Now, as we dive in to learn a little bit more about Trello Enterprise specifically, just want to level set. We'll start for a few minutes just going over some Trello basics before talking a little bit about some of our more robust features like automation and Powerups, which are available for free users as well, but are a little bit more robust for enterprise users. We'll get into what that means in just a second. Then we'll walk you through the different views that you can work out of in Trello, offering different types of flexibility for your teams. This is a paid feature. We'll talk about our enterprise exclusive admin dashboard, where you can see all of your users in one place and manage things like permission settings. Then we'll go through some of our big security features that Trello Enterprise exclusively offers. And then finally, we'll have a wrap up at the end here, where we'll pass along any relevant resources or next steps that might be helpful for you in your journey. That being said, I think we're all ready to dive into the product. So let's go ahead and head on over there. So I brought us to what is a traditional Trello board to start. Essentially, a Trello board is a space where a given team can manage any project or program all in one central view. So here you'll see that we are all part of the program management team at Monsters Incorporated. We are working on the big Scream Team 2021 launch. If I hover over here to these friendly faces up top, you'll see that we've got a bunch of folks who are working out of this board right now. We have workspace members who are all the folks assigned to the program management team. And we've also got a bevy of guests here. So these might be folks from other teams who we've invited in to work on this project with us, or maybe some external vendors who are here helping manage some tasks with us as well. So this is the board at a macro level. If we want to dive in on two other key components of a basic Trello board, we have lists, which are these big guys that we have right here. Essentially, a list is a way to organize the many subtasks that your team is working on. So for the purposes of this board, we've got our list organized by timing. So things that we're working on up next, all the way through things that are completed. Within every list, we've got a bunch of cards. So cards are kind of the building blocks of the Trello board. Essentially, you can think of a card as the most super-powered sticky note that you've ever seen, where you can really easily and flexibly move things across your board. But within the back of every card, there's a lot of ways to add details and customize. So not only do you just have a title, but you can add a really detailed description to what you're working on, assign all of the members that are contributing to a given task. We've added labels to our cards as well. You can customize labels however makes sense for your projects. For this board, we've made our labels pretty centered around different teams that are working on a given card. We've added checklists as well to be able to keep track of the different priorities within a given task. So let's say we've already approved the designs and our checklist dynamically populates to keep us up to speed with the progress there. So everything here in this add to cards section are just different ways that you can customize and build out all of the data and information you need for your different tasks. You'll notice over here, we've got a card for finalizing some KPIs that's overdue, which is why it's in red. But we actually just finished that today. So we'll go ahead and check that off. That turns green. On this board, we like to move things over to completed once they're all green over there and totally finished up. You saw a fun little confetti blast over there to show us that we were all set with that card. So that really is how a Trello board works in a nutshell. If it feels very simple, it's because it is. Trello, though it is an enterprise-grade tool, really prides itself on its simplicity and its flexibility. It's really easy to get your teams and users stood up on a Trello board in a matter of minutes and start collaborating really that quickly on any of their projects and programs. Now, where Trello starts to make room for balancing flexibility with robustness is a few different areas. So two that I'm going to cover off on right now are automation, which is this little lightning button up here, as well as our Powerups, which we'll go into in a second. Powerups are essentially apps and integrations that bring in all of the tools that your business uses to get work done into Trello to help streamline all of your workflows. So the preview here is this board. We've enabled Powerups across Confluence, Google Drive, Jira, and Slack. And we'll show you how all of these big tools work within a Trello board in just a second. But first, let's start with automation. So I'm going to click in here, and I'll preface with automation is essentially a way within Trello of removing manual to-dos and tasks within a board. So for example, if I want my board to automatically update due dates on my behalf, automatically assign members, automatically move cards around, I can do all of that here right within the tool by creating rules or buttons. So let me show you how this works by just creating a quick rule. Essentially, to rephrase, automation is a way of saying, when I do blank on a board, I want my board to automatically do blank. So let's add that trigger now. Essentially, how about this? When any card is completed on a board by anyone working on it, what I want my board to automatically do is add Leah to the card. And Leah is our director who manages everyone in the Monsters, Inc. program management team, let's say. So I'm going to save that rule. Got a little confetti blast to confirm it's up. And let's see if that rule worked out for us. So in progress, I've got a project down here in yellow that's due today, which is why it's in yellow. I actually just completed it right before we got on this demo. So I'm going to check that off. And thanks to the power of automation, it followed our logic and Leah got automatically added right to that card. And you know what we do on this board once things are complete? We move them on over and we get our confetti blast of celebration. So that's automation in a nutshell, really effective for streamlining all of the manual tasks that can easily pile up as you're managing projects. So again, whether that's updating due dates automatically, moving cards for you, it's really easy to set all of that up once up front and save your team a lot of time moving forward. The other thing I wanted to cover off on that offers flexibility and capability within a Trello board is Powerups. So I showed you the preview up here. We've got a few enabled. Essentially, the way you can access Powerups is you go to the show menu in the top right. While we're here, I'll let you see how in this menu area, you can do things like change backgrounds, add some customizations like stickers and GIFs. Here's automation again, revisited. But we've got a really big section here for Powerups. And so I'm going to click on this here, and it'll bring us to an in-product menu where we can scroll through and see the library of over 200 different apps and integrations that are accessible into most Trello boards. Now, where Enterprise gets some bonus functionality is there are administrators who oversee the Trello instance for your whole company that can pre-approve which Powerups are enabled for your users, essentially streamlining approved apps and ensuring only the correct tools are being integrated into Trello for security and safety purposes. So our admin has approved us to use these Powerups in all of our Trello boards. And so you'll see again at the top here, those are enabled. In terms of what that looks like to actually use these Powerups, let's go ahead and test that out. So we'll go into one of our cards. We've got some wireframes that are due in the coming weeks according to this project. So we're going to go down to this Powerup section. What we want to do is we want to attach one of our recent Jira tickets to this card. So what we can do with the Jira Powerup is either attach a recent issue we've worked on or create an issue right from within the card without having to open a new tab and go to Jira ourselves. So I'm going to attach a recent issue from within my company. It's automatically looking for things I've recently worked on. This is actually the ticket that I wanted to attach, so that's going to load on here. I'm going to go outside of the card and show you how now that this Powerup has been used on this card, you'll see a little Jira logo on the outside of the card. And when I go back into the card, that Jira ticket is now dynamically populated with the status, a preview of what that ticket was, who's been assigned to it, the priority, and other really important details. So that's an example of how a Powerup integrates your other tools right into Trello. If we go back to this Powerup section, you'll see we've got things like Google Drive, where you can really easily attach your files and folders right into the cards. Same with Dropbox or Confluence, which is another Atlassian tool similar to Jira. We can also Slack straight from Trello as well. So we've enabled Slack here. What you can do is you can send a card straight to channels or straight to some of your coworkers, or you can set reminders in Slack about a card. So for example, we want to get a reminder about these wireframes in 2 days. What we'll do is we'll send ourselves a reminder in Slack. So in 2 days, it'll bring us right back to this card. So those are just a few of the different power-ups. Again, there's over 200. A lot of the big software tools that your enterprise might use on the day-to-day are probably integrated into Trello. And so we really encourage you to explore. If you want to learn more about power-ups that are available, you can go to trello.com/power-ups, and you'll be able to access and scroll through that library of over 200. So that being said, I do want to pause. We so far have been viewing this Trello board in context to what has been our traditional board style, but you may be excited to hear that Trello has a lot of different ways to help your teams visualize their work. So you've noticed up here in this top left corner, it said board for quite some time, but we want to switch that up for this next section. We want to show you what it looks like to visualize all these cards in different ways that work well for your team. So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of these different views that we have, which is paid exclusive features. So if we want to organize our cards as a map view, you'll notice not many cards on this board were organized in the map view, but we have a few. So for example, Cindy is working on a legal review based out of New York, and down here in LA, Javier is working on the enablement hub. Now, where the map view actually provides the most value is in certain industries, for example, real estate or service workers, for you to be able to kind of pin locations based off of whatever region that you're working in. Where we find a lot of users are experiencing value is our timeline view as well. So what you'll see here is this organizes all your cards by date, and you can scroll forward to see who's working on what through what list. What's really great about the timeline view is you can really easily drag and drop to update your dates. You can shorten the time frames, you can extend the time frames, all within this view in really easy ways. And in a similar view, you can also organize things rather than a timeline as a calendar view. If this is looking a little too much for you, you can always whittle down and look at your tasks on the week-to-week level or on the day-to-day level as well. And then lastly, if you want to get a view of all of the cards on your board at a high level, we offer a dashboard view where you can see things such as how many cards or task is every member on this board working on or assigned to? How do I help streamline work based off what I'm seeing in my board activity? How am I tracking in terms of meeting my due dates? And if I want to add different types of data visualizations at the board level, I can also add those tiles as well. One more that I'll show you here in terms of just understanding how your work is being organized across the business is the workspace table. So what the workspace table does is it provides one spreadsheet style grid where you can see all of your cards, members, and labels all in one place. But what's great about the workspace table is that you can also add in all of the other boards that your team may be working across and streamline one central view to filter across who's working on what, priorities, due dates, and all of that stuff as well. All right, so I'm gonna bring us back to our board here. So far, what we've seen is how to work within one Trello board. The beauty of Enterprise is that you will probably have many, many users and many teams working on many boards in a streamlined fashion, of course. So the question is, how do you get the bird's eye view into all of the users? How do you get a bird's eye view into all of the boards that are being managed across your business? So we're about to pivot now from more of the end user experience to the administrative experience. And so if you come to the top right with me, you'll see this little suitcase Trello logo, and that's going to take us into our admin dashboard that we had talked about earlier. So this is the admin dashboard, the enterprise admin dashboard of Trello. It is the one central view where you can administer accounts, take a look at all the different teams and workspaces and boards that are organized across your business, and also manage all of the security features that you need to keep your Trello boards and users safe as they're doing their projects on the day-to-day. So let's go through all these sections one by one. Starting with account administration, you can see here we've got over 100 users in our enterprise that are using Trello today. We've also got a few folks who are using the Trello free edition that have not been invited to our enterprise, And so they don't necessarily have the enterprise grade functionality yet, but we can really easily grant those folks licenses from here if we needed to. For our folks that are already in Trello Enterprise and have a license, we can easily batch deactivate, grant licenses, and check status from here. We've got board guests who maybe sit outside of our org that occasionally, maybe from an agency or a vendor, will hop in and are invited to select boards as well. And for folks that are off to bigger and better things, it's really easy to deactivate licenses, reprovision, remove them from the enterprise as needed. Awesome. And so you may be thinking, where did all of those boards go that the other teams are working on? And that's when we're going to bring you to this workspaces section down here. So I'm going to click on all of our enterprise workspaces. Essentially, we had set up front that within Monsters, Inc., we are part of the program management team down here. But you'll see you can set up a workspace for your engineering team, for your sales team, and essentially within any given workspace is the collection of all the boards that your team members work out of. So we're going to go click back in here. This was the original board that we were working out of. And you can see when we go back to the workspace level, we have all of the different boards that the program management team uses. And that Scream Team launch was just one of our boards. Here within the workspace view, we can also see all the different members of the program management team. This takes us back to that workspace level view that we talked about earlier, where we can keep track of all of our different tasks across boards. We can see all the different power-ups that are enabled for our workspace, and then export any data as well to keep tabs on all of our tasks in one place. So we're going to go back here to our admin dashboard. And again, if you want to take a look at your workspaces, you can see the collections of boards organized by team. So we'll give you one more example. If we go to our core products engineering team, we can see that they use about a dozen different boards, all organized in one space for them here as well. All right, and then the last section that we have for you today is just understanding security that comes with Trello Enterprise. So unique to Trello Enterprise over some other Trello editions that are out there is the permissions and restrictions and settings that you can send to keep your users safe. So let's go through a few of these in this left-hand column here. On the security front, we've got workspace and board permissions. This is a way of saying who's allowed to create boards within my company, what are the restrictions I may have around who can delete boards, can we invite folks from inside or outside of our organization, and how do I set that at the email domain level? All of that can happen right here from this tab within the admin dashboard. We mentioned attachment restrictions earlier. This is essentially a way of saying which tools will I allow to integrate into my Trello Enterprise instance for the security of my users. So I am okay with folks uploading, files or photos from Google Drive, Dropbox, or Box, but I don't want them uploading anything directly from their computer, say. So I'm going to go ahead and change that restriction. And so attachments can now only be uploaded from these pre-approved options that I've set here. Similarly, I can do the same for Powerups. So these are the Powerups that I have approved as an admin for use on Trello boards, either on specific boards or on specific workspaces. And we've got a few Powerups that are not allowed for different reasons that don't meet my company's security needs. Scrolling down here, we've got an audit log. So as an enterprise administrator, I want to keep tabs of all of the happenings across workspaces, across account administration. So I'm going to export all of the data to Google Sheet on occasion. We've already gone ahead and done that. And so I can keep tabs of when recent activity has taken place within my enterprise and who's done what. So when was the last time someone was given PowerUp approval? When was the last time a member was deactivated? And how do I see that all in one centralized place? All right, and then one of the last things I'll cover off on is SSO signups. So Trello, being a part of the Atlassian suite of products, integrates really succinctly with what we have called Atlassian Access, which is essentially bundled with Trello Enterprise. We're happy to talk more about what it looks like to integrate single sign-on into your Trello Enterprise instance, and are happy to offer customized demos to do so. So let me, before we go on to next steps here, just one more time, help you zoom in and show you how all the layers of Trello Enterprise that are connected. So here at the macro level is the space where administrators of your Trello Enterprise instance can really get that purview into all of the members that are a part of your company's Trello instance today. We can zoom into the different workspaces, which is a way of saying the teams or departments that are all working within Trello. We'll click in and say the program management team is who we're focused on today. See all of the boards that the program management team works on, all of the members of that team, and on the day-to-day, a user like me on the program management team would be here living in my different boards, inviting members to collaborate with me and working between boards to get my projects done as well. And I think with that, you've got everything that you need to know about Trello Enterprise for now. We are always happy to offer more custom demos that are super tailored to your business needs. And you can get in touch with us and our amazing enterprise advocates by just coming over to trello.com/enterprise. We'd be really excited to get in touch with you. That being said, thanks for spending some time with us today, and we will catch you next time.